What does it take to become a producer in the film industry? That's what we're going to find out today. Welcome to Inside Plug, the podcast where independent creators and entrepreneurs connect and inspire. I'm Devon Jones, a military veteran turned filmmaker. I found my spark in the military, and now I'm here to help you find yours. Inside Plug is a platform for your voice, stories to be shared, and ideas to flourish. Let's dive in and plug into creativity and entrepreneurship together. Today, we have producer Landi Maduro. She is the owner of Blue Child Entertainment, and she's also the president of Women of Color Filmmakers. Landi, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Yes. Thank you for joining the show. Let's just jump right into it. This is awesome. So you're owner of Blue Child Entertainment. Can you tell us a little bit about that company and how it got started?
Yeah, so it actually started as a mostly photography company. So I went to school for photography. And so we started just doing photography. And then a lot of my clients started asking for video. So we grew to photography and video. And, now we do everything from corporate videos, industrials to films, both short films and features, and continue to grow. We're getting ready to open a new division where we're doing education, Blue Child Academy, which will teach independent filmmakers how to make cinematic films on limited budgets. So super excited about that.
That's awesome. I love it. All right. So we're gonna jump back into that a little bit more, but let's talk about this other one right here. So the president of Women of Color Filmmakers. How is what is that? How can you describe that to me?
Sure. So Women of Color Filmmakers is a 501c3 nonprofit that helps women of color who want to get into the film and television industry. So we garner education, skill building, and networking. So that way they can, start to book jobs and really feel comfortable on set. So we've been around since about 2018 now, and really proud that a lot of our filmmakers are starting to work in the industry. We have something called a film lab where we take filmmakers from script development, pre-production, production, and then at the end of 6 months, they have a short film that they can use to get into other programs, put into film festivals. But they finally have something that, is tangible for them and a skill set. They're mentored by people in the industry. So really proud of that program. We do things like Scriptwriter Circle, where we help them develop scripts. Anything we can do to just really help them, get their stories out there, because we feel their voices are important. And a lot of times women of color are misrepresented. So we want them to tell their stories their way. So that's pretty much what we do at WOCF.
Nice. I love it. This is awesome. All right. So now let's talk back more about the Blue Child Entertainment. All right. So filmmaking can be hard for filmmakers, right? They have to write a script. They have to find a camera. They got to find actors. So you say you have some courses on, like lessons that you're starting to prepare for, future filmmakers or even filmmakers that's, already established. Can you tell us about that program? And is there like an age limit requirement?
Sure, yeah. So through working with WOCF, I realized I had a knack for teaching. And I was getting a lot of compliments from some of the mentors who are working in the industry at how amazed they were that their mentees that are in the programs were so skilled for first-time filmmakers. Like, they were expecting them to be very, very green, but they were very skilled. And even some of the, the filmmakers who have come through our programs, they'll go back and work with people that when they first started, they didn't know anything. And they're amazed at how quickly they've learned skills. They understood camera angles and how to visually tell story and how to use lenses to reveal information about their characters without saying anything, which were skills they didn't have before. And so I realized I have a knack for this, and I think I know how to present the technical aspects of filmmaking in a relatable way that it doesn't matter if you don't know the technical side. You can start to learn it, and it doesn't have to be this big daunting thing that you only can understand if you went to film school. And even, some of my students have gone to film school and they're like, wow, this was such a refresher, or you touch on things that I didn't learn. So I was like, I have a knack for this. So most of what I was doing was specifically for women of color. And so I decided I wanted to do something that was a little more open to everyone, so I'm launching Blue Child Academy. Actually, we're hoping to launch next month. And that way it'll be open to anyone who wants to be a filmmaker and learn cinematic filmmaking. So it doesn't matter if you're shooting on your iPhone or the most expensive camera, you can still tell a story beautifully. And we're going to be teaching them how to do that, and also how to make money from their films and not be taken advantage of by, certain people who see, oh, you got a little money, you want to make something, I got you. And then they don't really deliver a quality project. I want that to stop happening in independent filmmakers. So I pretty much am focusing on adults. So probably people between the ages of 18 to honestly like in their 60s. I tend to attract a lot of people who are coming into filmmaking as their second career. It's something they always want to do, but maybe like you, they went to the military, or they raised a family, or they had other jobs, and now they're finally pursuing their dream. And I'm, making them, helping them to see that it's tangible. And so that's pretty much what we do. So most of the people that I teach range between the ages of 18 to, I'll say, about 60.
Nice. All right. So will you be able to, let's connect the audience to this program. How can they find it? How can they sign up? Is it too late?
Yeah. Oh, not at all. So definitely, go to landimaduro.com. So that's LandiMaduro.com. Join our mailing list so you can be first in the know of all the perks that we have coming up. And we've got some cool things coming up soon that I can't announce yet, but and also just being on the mailing list for us, I like to inspire, because to your point, you mentioned this a little bit earlier, filmmaking is hard. And a lot of people get started and they leave because they feel discouraged. They feel like, wow, this is just too expensive and I don't even like how it turned out, right? So I want to help make it a little easier, because it is a hard career, and it's even a very expensive hobby, but it doesn't have to be daunting, and you can be proud of your final product. I am a firm believer that your first movie doesn't have to suck. You just need the technical skills to make it good. Now, are you going to grow as you continue to learn and hone your craft? Of course. But if you start with learning the technical skills of filmmaking and the psychology behind visual storytelling, then it's going to be better than if you just went out and just shot something with your phone, because now you understand how to tell story. So I really focus on getting filmmakers to understand that, specifically indie filmmakers, that, getting a wide shot in POV is great, but what if you really pulled your audience in by center framing your character and slowly pushing in, right? And now we're getting drawn into their world and we don't even know what's going on yet, but you've got our attention. So that's what I like to teach my filmmakers. And if people are interested, please go to landimaduro.com and you will be on our mailing list. Register to be on our mailing list, and you will get all the information as soon as we start the wait list for the program.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, you guys go check it out. Ladies too, definitely go check that out. All right, so now let's talk about some of your projects. All right, so this one kind of got my attention. It's called The Silent Killer: Prostate Cancer in the African American Community, and you were the producer on that project.
I was the writer, director, and producer on that project.
All right. So, can you share a little bit about that? How did that, that idea come to fruition? How was it getting the cast, the locations?
Sure. So that actually came to me. I had a filmmaking partner at the time named Chris Edwards, and he was concerned that his father and brother had prostate cancer, and he knew he was at risk, but he felt like no one was talking about it. And at the time, I didn't really know much about prostate cancer. I'm a woman, I don't have a prostate. But, I found it interesting when he started sharing with me, when I started looking into it, that Black men get prostate cancer at higher rates with with more aggressive disease. And veterans also tend to get prostate cancer at higher rates. So if you're Black and a veteran, it's like you are at the top of the list of risk. And I was really disappointed that no one was talking about this. You don't hear anything about it. So I told him I wanted to be part of the project and help him make the movie. He came to me to help him make the movie. His idea was just to, get groups of men together to talk about it. I was like, well, men don't talk about their prostates though, So I thought, let's see if we can follow 4 different men at different stages of prostate cancer And I had a friend who is a recognizable actor, and I was like, let's have him host and travel and interview these people. And man, it was the most dynamic experience. It took us a long time because we used our own money. It took us 6 years to make the movie. During that time, within the first 3 months of, doing research for the movie, my father was diagnosed with stage 1 prostate cancer. And so one thing, I was very happy that, because I'd been doing all this research on the movie, now I could share that information with my dad, and he could go to his doctor and ask educated questions.
Nice.
And I really, you know what I mean? And I really learned the power of advocating for yourself and with your doctor, and not just taking what they say at face value, but questioning certain things. And so from there, my dad agreed to be in the movie. Like I said, it took us 6 years to shoot it, and it came out in 2017. It's now on Amazon Prime and Tubi. But through doing that movie, I became a prostate cancer advocate. So now I sit on several boards regarding prostate cancer. I'm on the Health Equities Task Force to help make a difference. I've lobbied on Capitol Hill to get more funding for veterans and for African Americans to change the rate at which they're tested. Just done a lot of advocacy work, but it's also opened a lot of doors for me. Even now in 2024, I still travel and speak regarding this movie. I'm actually going to Chicago later this month to speak at a caregivers conference. So doing this movie, not only have I helped men who probably weren't even thinking about prostate cancer, but I've also made opportunities for myself unconsciously. I didn't set out to do that, but it feels good to do a project that has made a difference and saved lives. Yeah.
Nice. So one thing that kind of stuck out to me was the time frame, 6 years. So have any of your other films took 6 years, or was that your first film that took 6 years? And how was that?
That was the first one that took 6 years. And it's funny because when I started that film, I knew I wanted to direct it, but I wasn't really comfortable behind the camera yet. I went to school for photography, but I had someone else who was Chris. He was a cinematographer, and so he was doing a lot of the filming. But as we were traveling, I started helping with some of the filming. And so in that time, I did other projects within that 6-year time frame. So, and then I was getting better and better. So to me, sometimes, even when I watch the movie, the stuff that we did in 2012 is kind of painful to watch sometimes, because that's what I didn't know what I was doing compared to the stuff that, towards the end in 2017, where I had done other projects by this time, and my skills had grown. So most people don't care about that. I mean, the film is still in demand. Like, people still want to watch it. I think documentaries are a little more forgiving in that way. But for me, sometimes it's hard because I did other projects in between, and got better as a filmmaker as I continue to go on. It took a long time because we traveled throughout the United States. So we would have to raise money to take the crew, to the next location. But I'm glad it took that long too, because we were really able to follow the men's stories. Mm-hmm. By the end of it, unfortunately, my father was also diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. Mm-hmm. And so he's still alive, thank God. But we were able to add, what has happened to these men over the course of those years. And it made our documentary even more dynamic. So I think with documentaries, sometimes, depending on the subject matter, it can be good if it takes you a long time, because now you have a lot to draw from. Versus a film, it could be like, okay, this is not working. A narrative film, you're like, this ain't working. This is not. I give up. You know what I mean?
Got you. That's awesome. I love it. Definitely is an impact. And you said it's on Amazon? And
it's
Tubi?
On Amazon Prime, right? Amazon Prime, you have to rent it, but on Tubi, it's free. Yeah.
All right. So definitely go check that out. The Silent Killer of Prostate Cancer in the African American Community. All right. So also there's a short that also caught my attention. It's called Harper and Kelly, A Lazaretto Love Story. And it's a horror film.
Yes.
Can you tell us about that? And how did the genre horror, come about?
Well, it's so funny. So that movie, first of all, I like horror movies and I like thrillers, and I tend to like darker movies. Like, that's kind of my wheelhouse. But that was something my organization and I did during the lockdown. So a lot of my members, when we were during the pandemic, we used to always meet in person at this studio in LA, and they were like, well, Landi, what are we going to do? You know, we're all stuck at home. Can we do something? And I was like, you know what? Let's do a film challenge where you have to use like the people you live with or family members. If it's anyone outside of your family or household, you have to only shoot, you can only shoot them via Zoom or your phone. And that's where the word lazaretto comes from, because it's kind of like quarantining in place. And let's challenge ourselves with what you have. You have to make the movie with what you have. And so I decided to make that movie with my family. I'm starring in it. I directed it. I was teaching my family members how to be cinematographers. My sister did the makeup, you know, she does hair and makeup, but she doesn't do special effects. So she's like, I don't know how to do this. I was like, just watch some YouTube videos and we'll order the prosthetics off Amazon. It'll be cool. So since we were all in lockdown, that's what we did. We made a movie, and my whole organization, we screened them virtually, and the movie got a lot of attention. And I'm thinking, this is so weird. This is just something I did with my family. Now, luckily, I do have a talented family, you know what I mean? But still, it just was funny that this little movie did so well, and it did very well on the film festival circuit. And so people kept asking me, are you going to make it into a feature? Are you going to make it into a feature? So now we're reworking the script to make it into a feature. But it became horror because it was based on the pandemic. Basically, the premise is that, you know, this was before we knew the vaccine, anything about a vaccine, right? So in our movie, the vaccine turned people into zombies.
Oh, nice.
So we're going to change it now that time, you know, history has changed. We'll change it a little bit for the feature film. We've changed it some, but that was kind of what the premise was back then, you know, when we didn't know and everybody was scared and there was talk of a potential vaccine. So that's what we based our movie on.
That's awesome. I like that. It's kind of like you make a film and you're not sure where it's going to go, and then boom, you got more. Let's see more.
Yes,
I love it.
definitely.
All right. So now let's talk a little bit more about you as a filmmaker, as a producer. Who inspired you? Like was it early on? Was it later on in life? How did you find that spark to, okay, filmmaking, this is what I want to do?
Well, you know what's so funny? I started on the other side of the camera. So I actually started as a model and an actress, and I always wanted to act. Like since I was a kid, I set up my stuffed animals and put on shows. You know what I mean? Like acting was what I wanted to do. And then I got into modeling, and I was a professional singer and toured for a while. So I was on the other side of the camera for a long time, but I hated auditioning, and that's counterintuitive to booking an acting job. And so I thought, you know, I went to school for photography, and I was booking a lot of photography gigs. And of course, all my all my acting friends wanted me to do their headshots. And so I had gotten hired to shoot headshots at a film event. And I remember we had some downtime, and I decided, I'm going to go listen to some panels while I'm waiting for clients to come to my booth. And so I remember the first panel, I heard this guy talking about, your first films are going to be horrible, just expect it, just, you know, and I thought, I don't subscribe to that. I don't agree. That's not I disagreed with everything he said. I've never made a movie, mind you, but I disagree with everything he was saying, right? Then the next panel was this guy, I'll never forget him. His name was Tim Green, and he was talking about how he was making buku bucks making these horrible movies that he knew were horrible. He wasn't even trying to make them good. And he was selling them overseas in China for $1. And he was cleaning up. And he even showed us clips from the movie. And I thought, if he can make them, there is no reason, right? And so my first, you know, idea of making a movie was really for selfish purposes. I was an actress who hated auditioning. This guy was making these horrible movies and cleaning house. And I thought, if he could do it, I could do it, right? And so I got some of my friends together, didn't know what I was doing, but I've always been good at organizing and putting things together. And so got them together, thought, I didn't even have a script idea at the time, but I could do this. Failed horribly, like nothing worked with it. And so I put it down for a minute and really started thinking about story and how can I make a compelling story. So then I wrote that, called on the same people. And this time, because I had a plan, everything fell into place. The movie did very well on the film festival circuit as well. It was called I Can't Pretend, and it was about domestic violence. And I got a lot of attention from that. I was like, okay, I got a knack for this. And then people started asking me, oh, can you help me produce this? I ended up co-producing another short with some friends. Then I started getting hired to produce things, and it just kind of blossomed from there. So
Nice, nice. So it seems, maybe I could be speculating. Your films have like a social message in it. It's more of like, social topics, would you say?
you know what? It wasn't intentional. Some of them do. I mean, Harper and Kelly doesn't, other than what I like to do is take fictitious things sometimes, but base them in reality. And to me, it just adds a level of authenticity to whatever it is that you create. So even if I do something that's completely fiction, I'm going to twist it into things that will make you think that could happen. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Even if it's horror. So I actually have some films that are not, that are, we're working on getting funding for, like I have a romantic comedy and things like that. But I do tend to lean towards reality-based things, even if it's fiction.
All right. Yeah, all right. Nice. All right. So I asked this question to all of the guests that's on the show. If you can recommend a book, a TV show, or a movie to the next generation with something that, hey, definitely you should check out this. Definitely take a read on this.
I always say that if you want to make money as a filmmaker, I highly recommend the book, The Filmtrepreneur by Alex Ferrari. I think his name is Alex Ferrari, because it's the first book I read where a filmmaker thought differently. And I was saying this earlier today that unfortunately our industry is changing exponentially quicker than anyone understands how to deal with the induction of AI. Things are just changing, and we have no idea how this thing that we love called filmmaking is going to be in the next 6 months to the next 6 years. We just don't know. Change is good, but change is scary. And I am old enough to remember when things changed to digital. I remember even as a photographer, I went to school learning how to shoot film. And so when they talked about digital, I remember being upset. What are you talking about? I love being in the dark room. You know what I mean? Like this, how are you going to take away my artistic integrity and blah, 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 right? Till I bought a digital camera finally, like I gave in and I got a digital camera. I'm like, oh my God, this is so easy. I don't have to worry what if my light was off? What if I underexposed? If it's bad, I can delete it and take another one. But when you shoot film, you got to wait till you get in that dark room and see how things are. So for me, I feel like books like that help you think differently. And he thinks differently as a filmmaker. He's thinking about business. And I feel like because things are changing, you can't just follow the lead anymore. You got to find ways to think outside the box to stick out, because nobody is able to take the lead anymore. Nobody. Not even the studios really know. You know what I mean? So if you can find a way, you could be like Tyler Perry or 50 Cent. You know what I mean? Because they're doing things that no one else is doing, and it's taking them next level. So I highly recommend that book. It'll make you think differently about how you can make money as a filmmaker.
Awesome, awesome. You brought up something that's actually was going to be my next question with AI. So with AI, and we recently had the strike in LA. Where would you like to see filmmaking in the next 5 years?
I think that AI and film can have a happy marriage, but unfortunately, people do abuse things. I don't think that it should insult the artistry of film. I've heard some people talk about, oh, AI will replace actors, but there's nothing like, at least in my opinion, and it could be unbiased because I started as an actor, but there's something about a person living authentically as a character that the camera captures. Now, at this point, AI is not able to mimic that. Who knows if it will be in the next 6 years? But what I feel like the pandemic has even showed us is that we crave human connection. We for a while didn't think, what happens if we can't ever eat in a restaurant or meet in person? People got Zoom fatigue. That became a new term, And so I think what the pandemic taught us is humans need humans in order to feel like we are living. People got very depressed, those who lived by themselves, because they didn't have human connection anymore. And I don't know that AI is going to be able to replace that desires that humans have to feel connected. And a good movie draws you in. We follow actors because we love them. We want to see what they're going to do next. You watch Denzel. Denzel has made a name for himself because he's Denzel. You know what I mean? And so we want to see him be the villain, be Caesar, be the good guy, be the hero. Like, we love that. And AI replacing that, I'm just not sure. But we'll have to see what the future holds. I think there's some great things to AI for indie filmmakers. Now VFX and things are much more accessible and affordable to us, where you would need thousands upon thousands of dollars. Now you can, get Midjourney and use After Effects and create your own virtual backgrounds and not need millions of dollars to do it. So that's where I say it could be a happy marriage, but I think we're still finding our way and seeing, can we be married? Are we going to get divorced and have visitation? Like, how's this going to work? Who's paying alimony? That's what we're trying to figure out right now. Can we be in a relationship together? Because there are some scary parts to AI, the fact that it can mimic you is it's a little scary. But with innovation always comes fear. With change always comes uncertainty. And I think if we can find ways to marry the two, it could be a great resource. That's my opinion.
All right. Before we head out, you have any advice that you want to give some filmmakers, right? So say I'm a filmmaker, I just got my first camera, or say I'm a filmmaker, I just downloaded Celtics because it's free, or I paid for Final Draft. I'm ready to start a script. I'm ready to, get the ball rolling. What's some advice you would give these filmmakers?
I highly recommend that you take a class. If you've never written a script before, because formatting is super important for scheduling your script. People think, I could just write it in Word. Please don't do that. Please don't write your script in Word. Get Final Draft, get Celtic, get a script writing software, because it'll prompt you to put it in the proper format. Take a class. You don't have to go to film school, but you do need to learn technical skills in order to make a good movie. So get into a writing class, join a writing group if you can't afford it. There are awesome filmmaking groups that can help you, right? I know even our organization, we do Scriptwriter Circle every Wednesday, where people present their scripts and they get good feedback and tools that they can utilize, right? So join a group, join a script writing group. Take a film class, I teach the technical side of filmmaking, and there's other people that do as well. You can watch YouTube University, but sometimes when you don't understand the terms, it may go a little over your head. But you can, if you got a camera, you should be practicing. Practice. Try playing with angles. See how you feel when you see something shot at a low angle. Are you getting that hero vibe? If you shoot it at a high angle, are you getting that submissive vibe? Play around with it, but definitely start to teach yourself, because that's how you become good with practice. You're not going to become good the first time you pick it up, but you also don't have to make a movie that sucks if you learn the technical skills.
Awesome. I love it. Right. If you got a camera, get those angles. If you need some help with writing, take a class, learn that structure. Formatting is important. You do not want to make a script that sounds good to you and then the studio just toss it out because it's not structured the right way. Structure is very important. And just the key here, as being a writer myself, if your screenplay is not that, let's say, compelling, right? But if the structure is right, these studios and these producers and even your actors will guide you to make that script become compelling, and then you can film it, right? But you want to master that craft, the format, the structure, get it down.
I love that you said that. And one thing I want to add to that, because this is the most common problem I see with indie film scripts, that humans don't talk that much. So if you got to write it all out to get it out your head, but then go back and, to your point, if you have actors read it, we often struggle to say the things we're thinking. and we communicate a lot nonverbal. So but I was like, man, when you read a script, men talk so much. I've never seen a guy say every single thing that he is thinking or feeling. I mean, I have a few male friends who are talkative, but the majority of men I know, it'd be like, what's up? And in that what's up, there was a whole lot said, but for some reason, our characters say everything. Hey, man, how you doing? How your day been? What you been up to? No, he said, what's up? And that meant all of that, right? So
That's
understanding the nonverbal.
That's also a key in there. Also, screenwriting, when it comes to dialogue, you don't want to have lengthy dialogue, right? You're not writing a book, you're writing a screenplay. So you want to show, not tell. So don't tell me what you want to do, show me. Right? Let's have more action than dialogue, but dialogue always helps. All right. Landi, this is good. Thank you for being on the show. We appreciate everything that you shared. And everyone, thanks for tuning into Insight Plug. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and found it inspiring. Remember, every journey begins with a single step, and every creator has a story worth sharing. If you love what you heard, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review on our YouTube channel, Insight Plug. That's with 2 G's. Also, we have a website, www.insightplug.com. That's Insight Plug with 2 G's. Until next time, keep creating. Devon Jones signing off. Stay inspired. Landi, thanks again.
Thanks for having me.